Lou, I want a word with you here.
Sure.
About those sit-ups you want me to do? I got it right here in my contract. Says I don't have to do any calisthenics I don't feel are necessary. So what do you think about that?
Just a bit outside. Hello, everybody. Harry Doyle Fantasy Baseball. This is the podcast of record, just a bit outside. Welcome in to the now, I think we're calling it the YouTube show. Just a bit outside. We have had playoffs, and here to talk all about it, I'm Travis Akins, and the one, the only, Justin Deering. Welcome in. It's been playoff baseball this week, Justin.
It has. Before we get into that, I would like to make a comment on that opening clip you used tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know that may be the shortest P I've ever heard or seen. That sounds weird. Anyone take? It was like dribble, dribble, drop, and he was out.
Well, it's an older gentleman.
Is that a prostate thing?
Probably. It's an older man, so there's no telling what's going on there. Yes, Major League opens up every. Are we calling this a YouTube show now? Are we done with podcasts?
Oh yeah, this is a live to the world YouTube show that we make sure is unlisted, so neither one of us lose our jobs.
Welcome in, everyone. We've had playoff baseball, 2020 playoff baseball in this shortened 2020 season. We've had two games. We're going to talk all about that Ebony and Ivory Bolding Beaver matchup, and of course, the Los Tigres Wichita White Wolves matchup here in this Just a Bit Outside YouTube show. But first, Justin, I think if you're ready, they give first pitch.
And his first pitch was not great. Just a bit outside.
All right, today's first pitch is going to be about television shows. This first pitch, because as we record this, as we go live on YouTube, the Emmys are currently on. And Travis, I would like to give you a subtle nod because you introduced me to one of my favorite shows, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But as I was watching the Emmys tonight, the first 7 comedy awards that came off the block all went to Schitt's Creek, a little show filmed in Canada. If you haven't watched it, you're missing out. So Travis, my question for you on this first pitch is, if I was a character on Schitt's Creek, no, that's not which one would I be? No, it is Travis. We do this often. We talk, me, you, Blake, a couple other people. We always talk about TV shows, and we had a big discussion about a TV show bracket at one point. I don't know if you remember this, but we had a major back and forth, full blown argument into the podcast idea because of this conversation. So, if you were to say just comedies, what is your top 5 comedies? And we're going to say modern. So we're going to say from like 98 on. I think that's how we broke it down in that conversation.
All right. I'm going to do this in no particular order as I think about it. Let's do Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Community, Parks and Rec, 30 Rock, and I'm going to throw Schitt's Creek in there.
Schitt's Creek is top dog on that list.
It's good. It's very good. And by the way, you're Mayor Shit himself. That's the character you are.
I'm Mayor Shit. That is awesome. I love that. But I think mine would be Schitt's Creek. Yeah, it's a name. He's not calling me bad names. The guest we have on here in a little bit may. But no, I would put Schitt's Creek, Parks and Rec. I think I haven't watched Community. I'll be honest. I have not done Community. I have
very good.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think, 30 Rock, never really got into 30 Rock, never really got into The Office. For some reason, I got into Parks and Rec, but not The Office. So, I don't know. I just thought it was great. It was kind of like when Breaking Bad went out, they won every award out there that year. And Schitt's Creek is obviously going out there done. They won every award this year. But honestly, I don't know that looking at those categories, there was anybody that deserved to beat them out. Dan Levy won 3 in a row and had to give 3 consecutive speeches. So, that's what happens when you're not prepared for first pitch. You happen to see a Twitter post and you bring up the Emmys that you were watching earlier, and we just went into it. So first pitch is about comedies this week because I laughed all week long.
Well, thanks, Justin, for getting back on track to your non-baseball related first pitches. Yes.
No more fingernails in the zippers. We're gonna no more baseball pitchers getting their finger caught in their finger. So we're back to non-baseball topics.
And as we get back into some baseball topics, Justin, we have on the Roger Dorn Hot Corner Hotline, we actually have someone to join us in this week. This playoff week, Harry Dole Fantasy Baseball. We want to talk to the owner of the Wichita White Wolves, defending champion, back-to-back champion Wichita White Wolves. As we get to that big story, we'll talk more in depth of both these games. But Wichita White Wolves fall to your Los Tigres, 342-322. Joining us.
Say that one more time. Here. Say that one more time.
Yes, Los Tigres defeats the champs. Down goes the champ. 342-322. Chris Stockhill, thanks for joining us on this YouTube show, Just a Bit Outside.
Absolutely. Good evening, guys.
Chris, let's kind of get your initial reaction because, one, this was if you weren't paying attention to Harry Dole Fantasy Baseball playoff baseball this week, the games, the scores, the back and forth that was very much this week, you're doing life wrong because this was a fun week of baseball.
Oh, for sure. I think when you look at again, we've talked about every week, the strategy that comes into it. We're starting to see a lot more injuries. We're starting to see some people resting, some people starting to do things they haven't done all year with slumps or not playing or pushing starts back or shutting people down. This week felt like literally the toughest week of the year for roster management. I think at one point I sent you a text that said, man, I'm having to manage the hell out of my roster this week because it was just constantly changing, whether is Arenado going to play? Is Real Muto going to play over the week? It was rough. I know me and Chris had a text message going back and forth just about disappointments on both sides of people either getting moved or getting benched or just not going the way we hoped. But it was, who would have thought that Heimer Candeliaro would be somebody I would need to start in this week? And, it was crazy.
Chris, your takeaway from this, obviously not the week that you wanted, or at least the way it ended up, but just from the week in general, hitting the playoff 2020, going up against Los Tigres, just kind of perceptions and reactions here.
Yeah, it was a tough week. No getting around it. So Justin hit the nail on the head with that. Took a lot of management, took a lot of following news and watching for, starts to get pushed around or starts to get canceled. Guys getting sat out for, real injuries or maintenance time or, lining up things for the playoffs as teams were clinching.
Air quality.
Yeah, air quality. It was so 2020. This season, this season in a nutshell. I would be remiss if I didn't congratulate Justin on a hard-fought win. And I've played fantasy sports for, dating myself, something like 22, 23 years. And this league it's right up there, man. It's a blast. It's a lot of fun. I've won with bad teams. I've lost with good teams. And I think – as long as you are having fun with it and enjoying it, no one likes to lose. I don't like to lose. It's been a long time since I've lost in this league, but, I don't look at this as, all is lost because we didn't win a championship this year. We had a lot of fun. It was better to have a little bit of baseball than no baseball. And, I think you tip your cap to the guy who did a great job, and Justin went all in for this year, and it may pay off for him, it may not. It
already has. It already has.
This week you were better. I mean,
Wow.
I'm the first to say you look at the scoreboard, and this week you were better. I mean, a lot of unpredictable things for both of us. We could all, if either one of us would have lost this week, we would have had a list of 10 things that were, weird or fluky. I mean, Nolan Arenado scored 1 point. I mean, just like this stuff was not predictable. I don't think either one of us expected it to play out the way that it did. My hitting was way out in front all week, and his pitching just dominated mine. And I don't know if I would have expected that big of a spread on either end of it, but I figured it would end up somehow or another being close, and it came down to Sunday. So, he had the better Sunday and the better week as a whole, and, tip of the cap to the winning team. So that's the game.
I think you hit it on nail on the head, fluky, right? Because the contrast between both of your teams this playoff week of offense and defense work night and day from each other. I mean, absolutely. Wichita White Wolves offensively alone puts up 232 points. And, when DJ LeMahieu is giving you 50 points and Luke Voigt's having the year that he's having and has the week that he has, you got to feel confident about things, but it's the pitching for Los Tigres that kind of carries the day. So, Justin, when you look at, Trevor Bauer, who was a mid-season trade acquisition, and you see guys like Alcantara and Castillo contribute the way they did to bring you to a victory. Justin, when you look at that and see that, kind of what's in the mindset of the manager of Los Tigres that's going to be heading in the championship game?
Well, I told you, I think I said a couple weeks ago that every week, it doesn't matter how many I've got a ton of start pitchers on my bench. My goal is to have 10 starts a week, since that's the max I can have, and just put it together. And this week I got it. And every week this season I've hit that 10 start unless someone got canceled after I could change. But this week, all 10 starts hit. I think that's really the first time. I mean, when Lance Lynn's one of my lowest starts, Zach Wheeler's one of my lowest starts with his gimpy thumbnail or middle fingernail, I'm okay with that. The big thing for me was just that Sandy Alcantara came out, and he's so night and day. One start, he's got 20 points. The next start, he's -6, and he put 2 decent starts together this week. And then none of my, I think cutting Craig Kimbrell last week before the playoffs started, just buying him out and sending him off pasture and let him go die somewhere, was probably one of the better moves of the year, because he was just, I mean, he's had points this last couple weeks, but he just he wasn't doing it. Even, Jonathan Harris, who's been in the lineup as a rookie for the Rangers, I think that may be my homegrown love there. He probably shouldn't be starting lineup stuff, but I think it was just a spot filler. I think it's the first week that my pitching's gone off for this kind of points, and it just landed at the right time. And we hope that it lands that way next week. But next week's going to be a crapshoot too. The more clinching and shutting down of the season that people just kind of the tuck and roll and give up and be done, that's going to happen in the next week or so.
Yeah, Chris, when I look at this game from the Wichita White Wolf standpoint, and I'm guessing you would agree with this, your pitching staff's better than their performance of a sub 100 point week.
Well, it was the perfect storm. So I didn't have any 2-start pitchers this week, and it would have been great to make it to the finals, because I would have had potentially a 2-start Jacob deGrom week next week. But I got one hamstring laden. I think he had hamstring spasms or something. Left a game early, so that didn't help. And then, Walker Buehler, felt really good about that trade going into the playoffs. Thought he'd really be able to help me out. Blister issue, not, unavailable. There was weird things this week, like I had Chris Paddock last week fall off the mound and turn an ankle. So they were going to start him on Wednesday, and then they ended up pushing it to Friday. And I had him in my, Monday through Thursday lineup. So I got nothing from him in the first half. Ended up having to scramble to get one more start in. And then Dane Dunning ends up getting pushed from today to tomorrow. So, it's just like Justin was saying, you can always point at 10 different things that you would have liked to have gone your way. And sometimes those things fall in your favor, and sometimes you just kind of get the shaft. And, I lost to a good team. I would much rather lose to a good team that sold out and did everything he could to win this year than have some team that, kind of half-assed it and just sort of stumbled in and, I didn't even set my lineup. And then you get beat because one guy goes for 60 or something. So, I can stomach this one. I thought I had built as good of a team as I could going into the season, and my bullpen fell apart. I lost Roberto Ozuna, I lost Kirby Yates, I lost Ken Giles. I mean, just right off the bat, I was like, okay, we're going to be scraping together the bullpen this year. And then, tried to make some moves to shore up the pitching staff. And a couple guys that Justin got were guys I went after, but I didn't offer enough, So I feel good about the season. I'm proud of the effort, and sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, and clearly the Wichita White Wolves window is not closing in 2020. I mean, when I look at the pieces that are coming back, and Bellinger and Grandal and LeMahieu, Nelson Cruz, the ageless wonder himself, will be back. And Correa and Judge and Mercado and others, right? That include Bueller and Snell's not possibly getting extended. We'll talk about that, but you got some pieces coming back in that Wichita White Wolves window. It may not be 3 in a row, but it could very well be 3 in 21. So what's the outlook from the owner of the Wichita White Wolves as you head into the expansion 21 season?
Yeah, I mean, it's something we talk about all the time in this league. With this format, you always have to be deciding, am I contender now? What's my window look like? Can I compete? Should I sell out for the future? Should I load up? Should I rebuild? I'm always trying to be somewhere between competing now, but also wanting to compete every year. I would have a really hard time just kind of sitting a season out unless it just really fell that way. And, Travis, you're in a situation where it made sense to do a full-sale rebuild. And I think that's the way to do it, because you're going to have a ton of talent to play with for years to come. But I set out that very first year to kind of be in it every year. I don't want to have a year where I miss the playoffs. I don't want to have a year where, I'm an underdog. I want to outscore everybody every season. And it's hard to do that. There's every year there's been more and more teams that are gunning for you, more and more teams that are loading up for the playoffs. I mean, this year I was sitting there watching and Bryce Harper and Trout and all these pitchers, and I'm thinking, gosh, I mean, I went from feeling really good about where I was standing to it's going to be a dogfight. And there's only so much you can do. I mean, for me, I look at my farm system. I got a lot of guys that are a few years away that it's not the right time to sell them. And, do I really feel like I need to, do that? I don't. I thought I could have won if I had kept guys healthy. I thought I could have won with what I had. Would I have made a couple more moves, and would that have made the difference? Sure. I mean, you can always second guess that, but it was going to be a close game regardless.
Yeah.
Like I said, kudos to Justin. I mean, you traded for the right guys. When you trade for Trevor Bauer and he comes up on a 2-start week, and that was an MVP of the week performance. Should I have offered more for Bauer? I don't know if I would have got him. I felt like I offered Forrest Whitley for Luis Castillo. I thought that was a pretty good offer, and he went with another prospect. So, what are you going to do? It's not like I didn't try. So, that's the game we play, and you get yourself in the mix and you see what happens. So.
Yeah, well, congratulations on a 2020 season, back-to-back champion. Can't take that away. Those bobbleheads are yours forever, Chris Stockhill. And as we kind of end this part of the show in your 2020 season, very quickly, Chris, Tigres Beavers, who you got in the championship game?
Man, I'll tell you, I think it's going to be another pitching versus hitting matchup. I thought Lan really overachieved on the hitting side this week. I mean, 200 points. His stars came through, which I think is what he's going to need again. I just I don't know if that Beavers pitching is going to line out with starts maybe being moved around. I think if he gets all the 2 starts that he should, it could be a very different story. But I think some of these teams, when you start talking about having guys available for playoff matchups, I think maybe it leans Tigres just because of that, scheduling quirk. I think if Lang got all starts he's supposed to have, maybe he's the favorite, but I'm going to say maybe Tigres because he doesn't.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to this championship game because things can fall as we can kind of be unpredictable, right? We didn't expect this kind of game, Tigris Wolves game, and it'll be a fun Sunday kind of nail biter. I'm hoping for as a spectator of the 2020 Harry Doyle Fantasy Baseball League Championship. Chris Stockhill, congratulations on a great season, and much luck, but not too much luck to the Wichita White Wolves in the future.
Well, much appreciated. I will formally announce that Jacob deGrom will be making another return appearance to the White Wolves in 2021. He has earned that right,
breaking news.
And he will be back. So don't sleep on us. We'll be back.
Right here, live on Just a Bit Outside. You heard it first. Jacob deGrom back in the Wolves uniform next year. Chris, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Good luck, Justin.
I appreciate it. It was a great week. Enjoyed the trash talk in private. See ya.
The other game. Yeah, you there? You good? Justin, you there? We good? We're just live over YouTube.
Did
Don't
you
worry
lose
about
me?
it. Nope.
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
I'm here.
Go ahead and bring Lynn in.
The other
bring
game
Landon.
of the Harry Doyle 2020 playoffs, Ebony and Ivory versus Bolding Beavers. Bolding Beavers finished the playoff round one game victorious, 376 to 348. Lan, there's no video. Justin's gone. Everything's going up in the air, but are you there?
I'm here.
Lan, welcome into Just a Bit Outside. And the Roger Dorn Hot Corner, glad you can make it. How do you feel? You're heading to the championship.
I feel great. I feel awesome. Team looked good this week. It's a little closer than I would have wanted. Some of my starters threw duds, but I'm good.
So as very similar to the Tigris Wichita White Wolves game, this was a, for lack of a better term, this was a nail biter. Is that how you felt this was all week from the Bolding Beaver side of things?
Yeah, I don't think we were ever more than 10 or 15 points apart for most of the week. And I had to scramble there on Friday to find a starting pitcher because I was getting outmatched there. So yeah, it was definitely close all week.
I would have to imagine heading into this championship week that you're heading into, you have to feel good about your offense. Your offense has been seemingly kind of ticking up, ticking in the right direction, kind of progressively steady in that category. It's the pitching, as you've already alluded to, that may cause a little bit of, trepidation as you head into this championship game.
Well, I think Chris mentioned it earlier that so all of my aces line up for a 2-start week, but 3 of them are play for a team that clinched a playoff spot. So I really don't see them pitching that second game as they, in real life, line up for their own playoff run. So I'm a little worried about it. But luckily, we were able to adjust our lineup on Friday, and I'll make the moves I got to make and come out victorious is the plan.
So you've been in the league all 9 years. You're in the championship game again.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You're a former champion of this league.
Thank you.
When you kind of compare your past experiences with past Harry Doyle Fantasy Baseball leagues, how does this one compare to that? What is this sweeter? Is it more bitter? I don't know. You tell me. How does this one compare to the past experiences?
I think the one word for it is weird. It was very weird playing 2 teams a week. It was very weird being so condensed. But I was a little I didn't think it was going to be that fun, but it really was. I know I'm not as into it or not as involved in all the podcasts and everything like I used to be, but I'm always watching, always never miss checking my lineup, never miss doing my research. And it was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was fun. Weird, but fun.
Why do I feel like that last comment is it's like you're on trial trying to defend yourself? I may not be in the podcast, but I'm still in the league, guys.
Well, if I showed everybody my text message history, you'd understand.
Which leads me to this. Why aren't you showing your face? What's going on? Are you in bed?
No, I'm back and forth. I'm in the middle of the throes of the 3-year-old bedtime. It's I don't know. I don't have much going on behind me. I guess I could.
No, it's okay. You don't have to show. I just was curious. This, we've transitioned from a podcast to a YouTube
I didn't
show.
know until 25 minutes and 6 seconds ago that this was even a YouTube thing or a live thing. I thought it was the old school podcast.
2020 has thrown a lot of curveballs our way, so we transitioned. We kind of thought we'd try it this way, and it seems to be working. We usually have 1 or 2 viewers, and so we're a hit on YouTube. And I just lost land. So now I'm riding solo on the Just a Bit Outside playoff edition. Justin isn't here. Land internet went somewhere. Let's see if do we have Land? Land, are you back?
I'm back.
Wow, I don't know. Okay. All right. Internet said device not connected. I don't know what's going on with you guys. I don't understand. I don't get it. It's 9:30 on a Sunday night. Let's try one more time. Land.
All right, every time I hit start camera, it disconnects.
Please don't do that again.
I won't. I wanted you to see my pretty face. I even shaved. I'm looking good. I'm not gonna lie.
I bet you are. I'm sure you are. We come from the same DNA. We both look good.
Absolutely.
Land, your championship week's ahead. What has to go right? I mean, just what's got to go right for Bolding Beavers to a week from now look back and go, I'm the 2020 champions?
I've got 2 things. Number one, first and foremost, all year long, my pitching has carried me. I think I outscored the second best pitching squad by like 400 points on the season. I mean, I've just been carried by my pitching. So those starts have to come through, or I've got to find some people over the weekend to replace the Garrett Cole, the Giolito that I'm going to miss on the weekend, because I just can't imagine they're going to get that start when they're lining up for their own playoffs. So the pitching has to come through, whether it be from my tried and true guys or me searching the free agent pool and scrapping somebody up. The second thing that has to happen is you already mentioned it, those stars that kind of let me down earlier in the year that have been ticking back up, they need to keep coming through. That offense has got to stay hot, and I think I'll have no problem.
How clutch was it to acquire Bryce Harper when you acquired Bryce Harper?
Oh, he's been great. I tried to do a little research on that when y'all were talking about it earlier, and I think he is, like, over the last 60 days, which is about how long I've had him. I think I've had him like 50 days or something. He's like the number 5 scorer in the league, so he's done fantastic. So that's been clutch. Yelich was not producing. Now he is, thankfully, but he was not for the longest time. So sliding him in there was super helpful. I felt like I didn't have to give up anything that made me uncomfortable. So really happy with it and looking forward to seeing it continue.
Now, you got Bryce Harper through 24. Remind me, what did you give up for Bryce Harper?
Well, I can't even remember. That's how. No, it was mainly prospects. I gave up Biggio's kid. I gave up Kyle Tucker.
Gave up Biggio's kid.
Yeah. I gave up Kyle Tucker, and then one more prospect. I can't. Oh, and Ohtani.
And you get 4 more seasons of Bryce Harper, and Bryce Harper potentially may help you win a championship in year 1.
That's worth every penny.
Sounds like that's a pretty good turn of events for you, Lan. I can't imagine you would pick any other team than the Beavers in this championship week.
Absolutely not.
Thanks for being on Just a Bit Outside. It's been a while since you've been on the big show.
I know. Thanks for having me. Next time I'll make sure and have my camera working and be ready to do this the real way.
Justin, you're back. Can you hear us? Justin can't hear us.
Oh, there's his finger. Look at that. Oh,
I know. I'll just remove him for a moment. But on behalf of Justin and myself, I feel like confident I can speak into this, Lan. We miss you on this show. So anytime you want to come back, face or no face, you can jump on anytime.
Look forward to talking to y'all next week too.
Yeah, I look forward to talking to future champion Lamb Bolding. Thanks for jumping on, man.
Thanks. Have a good night.
See you, bud. There he was, Lamb Bolding, owner of Bolding Beavers, heading into the 2020 championship game. And Justin's still MIA. We're heading in to the championship week. Los Tigres will be taking on Land's Bolding Beavers. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this in a segment. See if Justin get himself back on here with good internet. But this is the third time in league history that a number one seed didn't at least make the championship game. And so we've got a matchup that has the potential, just based off if you however you want to take seeding, right? This is a 2 versus 4 seeding matchup based off the way the 2020 season ended. That I think we have a potential for a very close, very competitive fantasy baseball game. And if you throw in all the stuff that 2020 can throw at us in a baseball season, from COVID to air quality, to boycotts, everything else, there's no telling what kind of scenarios we might see through this week. And I said this about this week one, this round one of 2020 playoffs. If you weren't paying attention and following along game to game, day to day, in these Ebony and Ivory, Bolding Beaver, Tigres, Wolves games, you were living life wrong, because this was an incredibly exciting baseball and incredibly exciting games to pay attention to, because as we headed into the weekend that was round one of the playoffs, we were heading into a weekend where it was quite literally any one of the 4 teams' games. That all the teams were within a player's contribution away from taking the lead or winning the series, winning the week. That's how fun this game was. And in fact, at one point, Wichita White Wolves overtook Los Tigres. I think it was heading into I think it was at the end of the Saturday games. Maybe it was Friday, if my memory serves, sometime over that weekend. And so we had a back and forth, incredibly exciting. And now we're going to be able to see these Los Tigres Bolding Beaver matchup, and we're gonna see what happens there with the 2029th season of Harry Dole Fantasy Baseball. I don't know where Justin is, but that's okay. You're joining the Harry Dole Fantasy Baseball just a bit outside. We've officially transitioned from podcast to a YouTube show, and it's time for a new little segment called Fun Fact. Yes. Hey, intro video. That's how you know it's a YouTube show, because we have video. So we're heading into a championship game. We're celebrating the end of a 2020 season, unlike any other season in real life sports and in fantasy sports. So I thought it was fitting to take a little stroll down memory lane, look at the old history page in the Google sheet, and I want to share with you some fun facts about Harry Dole Fantasy Baseball. For instance, fun fact, Aiken's Army has played in 5 of the now 9 Harry Dole Fantasy Baseball championship games. 5 of those 9. Aiken's Army has won 3 of those 5 championships they've played in. The next closest team to play that many championship games, as of tomorrow, that's Land's Bolding Beavers. 4 championship games they've played in. And Justin, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Look who it is.
I moved down the street to another house just to see if they had internet that worked. I don't know what happened, so I apologize that I left you stranded on third.
That's okay. We're in our fun fact segment.
I'm so frustrated.
Don't be.
Oh, fun fact. Chris won't
Fun
win 3.
fact. Say that again.
I'm frozen up. Frozen up
You
again.
there?
I'm frozen up again.
Fun fact.
Nope.
We hear you just fine.
You can hear me, you
So-
just can't see me?
Yes.
How's that?
Oh, yeah. How's that? I can hear you fine.
Oh, great.
Are you there?
I can't hear you, so no.
Fun fact. Justin's internet sucks. We'll give him a moment. Justin, you just text me when you think you've got your internet going, okay, buddy? Let's continue with fun facts of Harry Dole Fantasy Baseball. The only team that Bolding Beavers has ever played in a league championship game until this week, Aikens Army. Bolding Beavers and Aikens Army has matched up 3 times in league championship games. Army, by the way, 2-1 in those 3 matchups. So I'm just saying, Army's the better team. But fun fact, this league has been around so long that someone thought naming their team after Johnny Manziel was a good idea in year 2. The Fighting Johnny Footballs. I think that was a John Hendricks special. Fun fact, Los Tigres has one league championship under their franchise's history, but the last time that Los Tigres was in a league championship game was way back in 2014, and they had a different name. Back then, they were known as Sabermetric Tooth Tigers. It was cute. He had like a tiger holding a calculator for a logo. I think he thought he was the next Moneyball. I'm not sure. Fun fact, this will be Los Tigres' 3rd championship game. They are currently 1-1 in their previous 2, looking to go over 500 at 2-1. Fun fact, the Mike Trout trade did not work. It's true. There's no denying that fact. Fun fact, Justin versus Land is a matchup of league's original owners. The last OG matchup was in 2017. Army defeated Bolding Beavers. Seems so long ago. I need another bobblehead. Fun fact, this will be the 5th time in league history that the top seeded team will not win the championship, and only the 2nd time in league history that the top seeded team did not even make the championship game. History was made tonight in the defeat of the Wichita White Wolves. If Justin ever gets his way back, we'll check on him in just a second. We'll thank him for that, maybe, for that little bit of history. Fun fact, Lightning Gods is Blake's franchise's far superior team name used from 2014 to 2016. That's factual. I don't know why he ever got rid of that. And fun fact, the Wichita White Wolves will not be 3-peat champions. That, boys and girls, is fun fact. Justin, we try again. Oh, if you're joining us live on the YouTube, this is Just a Bit Outside. Blake Mitchamore wants to know if I should just call them and we should talk directly instead of broadcasting on YouTube. Blake, we can text. We can Marco Polo, but we're not going to talk on the phone. I have standards. Welcome in, everyone. And welcome in Justin Deering. Is he there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, man.
I can see you and I can hear you. I don't know what's going on, but
you know what?
We went three-way, it tripped my computer out.
I love that we are testing the limits of your internet live on YouTube.
Baseball stuff. Here's a Tony Gosselin card. I'm just getting caught up on all the stuff I missed. This guy pitched good this week. Hey, play that video from Game of Thrones that I sent you real quick for me, just so I can enjoy that tape too. If you didn't already do it, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else I was supposed to do that I didn't get to do it? Because who knows? My internet only may have 30 seconds left. I have a charger in case I need to put my phone on. Great interview with Lan, I think.
Hey, it went well. I told him we missed him.
Yeah, that didn't work, did it? He's sending me text messages because he saw me slam my pen down whenever I got kicked off the second time. So I guess it was.
Now, to be fair, you were upset.
Yeah, I left and went and hulked my Hogan.
Okay. I don't know what that is, but you know what, Justin? I think in this this soon to be off season, we're a week away from entering the off season. We may have to seriously reconsider transitioning our podcast into a YouTube show.
I'm paying for the fastest internet available in my neighborhood. I don't know what the deal is, and no one in my house is using it. I think there's an outage in my neighborhood because that, or there's a huge Call of Duty update downloading upstairs that I didn't know about. That's a good possibility because video games. But yeah, so in the words of Thomas Jefferson from Hamilton, what did I miss?
Well, let me get you caught. Let me get you caught up from YouTube comments. Shockingly, Blake is calling me a jerk.
Who would have thought that would happen tonight? If you had that bet going, congratulations, your prop bet hit.
Well, Justin, let's attempt a little more fantasy baseball talk. Let's talk championship game. Los Tigres, Bolding Beavers. I asked this question to Lan when you were kicked and weren't around. I'll ask you as the owner of the Los Tigres, as owner of one of the last two teams standing here in 2020. A week from now, if Los Tigres is crowned champion of this 2020 Harry Dole Fantasy Baseball season, it's because what went right for Los Tigres, Justin?
Pretty much everything that happened this week, except my good players actually play good.
So you are referencing Fernando Tatis Jr.
and Nolan Arenado. If they have average weeks, if they have average weeks, the week we just had, if they had just average baseball weeks, not even average for what they've done all season. Granted, Arenado's had kind of a down season this year, but Tatis at 4.5 points, I think, is his total at the end of the week. That's like average game leading into this week. He was averaging 4.5 a day going into this week. He puts up his normal 25 to 30. I mean, it's tough to beat that. If the Tigres are getting ready to get the bobblehead next week, it is because Fernando Tatis Jr. and Nolan Arenado have broken out of their slump, and the pitchers just keep pitching because there are some big name pitchers on our roster, and their starts are lining up decently next week. I may have to find one extra start somewhere. So I don't think I'm going to follow your advice of starting Ross Stripling ever again.
So clearly, in fantasy in our fantasy sports world, you can't talk up your players or play a certain defense. There's nothing you can do about Bolding Beavers. So when you look over at the Bolding Beavers roster and the team that they have, the team that you're going up against, is there one part? Is there one player? Is there an aspect of that team that gives you a little bit of pause? It scares you a little bit for this championship?
It's the pitching staff, like we've talked about all season, that they just have such a powerful pitching staff. And who would have thought that 9 years into this league, Land's man crush on Yu Darvish would finally be paying off at this level. Like, I'm pretty sure Land has owned Yu Darvish since day one of this league.
I think that's correct.
I think he's never let him go, and if he didn't have him, he found a way to get him.
He hit the free agent market one time, and I don't know why I remember this. I think I went, but he won him in free agent bidding, so he had him
cheap.
Yeah, and now he's a Cy Young contender in the National League this year. But yeah, the kids say the Darvish things is very accurate for the Boulding Beavers.
I mean, he definitely hit a banger this year. He definitely hit a banger with Yu Darvish. And that's just something you just got to watch out for. I think just the Scherzer, the Darvish, all those guys he's got lined up. Shane Bieber having a good I missed out on some cards of Shane Bieber's I tried to buy a couple weeks ago. I was trying to buy 20 of his rookie cards, and I bet like $75 and ended up going for $291. So I wasn't even in the same ballpark. But yeah, I just think if you look at the pitchers he have, if they line up and have solid starts, we better hope that Fernando Tatis and Arenado and Acuna and that JT Realmuto comes back and just does average of what he's been doing for the year, because we are going to need heavy offense this week if we're going to take it home. Or we hope some of his teams that aren't going to be in the playoffs just sit everybody out.
As we start to wrap up this episode,
if you want to call it that,
whatever this is, I'm curious. The expanded Major League Baseball playoffs, is that? I know what I think, but is that hurting fantasy baseball playoffs right now?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you would think going into the last week of the season where people have, for the most part, I haven't looked at in the last couple of days, but there's still some positioning and some jockeying going on for those spots. So you're going to see a lot of people really – you knew the Rangers were out pretty early. So you're seeing a lot of a younger – I will start any pitcher out there that's pitching against the Rangers next week. If they're available, they will be on my line. They will be in my roster because they are – Arizona – Pittsburgh, there's certain teams that are obviously not putting an effort out to win games right now, but Rangers being one of them. So there's ways that I think that is hurting it because, Sandy Alcantara versus and whoever they played at the beginning, I think he played Pittsburgh at the beginning. He hadn't had a start like that in a while, but luckily he lined up against Pittsburgh and then a Miami team that is going to make the playoffs, but hasn't been just murdering. He pitches for Miami. I'm an idiot. I don't even know who they played today. I'm still worrying about my internet. Anyways, I think you got half the teams that are going to make it, and you got teams that are falling out. You just want to line those up. Washington sucks this year. So he pitched against Washington today. He got 2 awesome starts against 2 crap teams. I think it's just the strategic, paying attention to who's playing, who's starting against who, and it's going to be the OGs are here. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a banger.
Going to be a banger. You've said that a lot. I don't know what that's about.
Hey, it's my word of the week. Banger. It's my word of the week. Hey, there's some music. I think we're done here.
Playoffs. 1 week to go. 2020. The weirdest season ever. There it is. Justin, glad you could come back for a few moments.
Just think this time next week you'll be doing a championship interview with your boy, and I'm going to have the internet working and popping, and I'm probably going to be popping champagne. I may wear my 1997 Rusty Greer jersey that's a medium next week with no undershirt. It's going to be crazy once I win this thing.
For Justin Deering, I'm Travis Agans. So long, everybody.
Adios, mofos.